Hi YouTube, I'm Chef Lili. I'm here in our studio test kitchen at Blue Apron. Today we're gonna make a simple pantry pasta, and I'm gonna show you 3 delicious ways to elevate this dish from a weeknight meal to a special meal. All right, are we ready? The first thing we're gonna make is a garlic panko breadcrumb. We need panko, a clove of garlic, some salt, some pepper, some oil, red pepper flakes if you like a little spice. I need the space, so I'm gonna get rid of this kale. And we're ready to get started. So I'm gonna go ahead and preheat my pan. I don't want to start in a cold pan, I wanna start in a hot pan so we get that toast going. While that warms up, I'm gonna grate my garlic. This is a zester. If you don't have one of these, you can use the small side of a box grater. You can make a paste with the side of your knife. This is definitely the easiest way to do it. Bada bing, bada boom. Just gonna tap it out. I have my garlic paste. This is getting hot. I'm gonna add a little bit of oil to my pan. Just a drizzle. I'm gonna know it's hot when it starts to get a little shimmery. If it's too hot, it's gonna get a little smoky, and when I put things in it, it's gonna sizzle, but not sizzle in like a good way, sizzle in a bad way, you'll know. I'm gonna test this oil. I'm gonna add just a couple of crumbs in so I can see when the oil starts getting hot. I'm gonna add the breadcrumbs in an even layer, and then I'm gonna add my garlic paste. I'm gonna season with salt and pepper. And I'm gonna add just a pinch of red pepper flakes for like a little extra punch. Fully incorporate this so everything is coated in oil and salt and pepper. And I'm just gonna keep stirring this for about a minute or two on like a medium heat until it starts to get browned and toasty. So you can see here that the breadcrumbs are just starting to get a little brown. I'm just gonna keep it moving. We're gonna go, 2 to 3 minutes on these. I don't want them to burn. I don't want them to go too fast. And I want that garlic to cook just a little bit to take that super raw garlic flavor out. This is also a personal journey. If you like them not so crunchy, pull them early. If you like them really dark and crunchy, pull them later. All right, so I'm gonna go ahead and pull these off. I'm gonna put them in a bowl so they don't continue to toast on the heat. And there we have it. So now we're gonna talk about how to finish our weeknight pasta. This is our base pantry pasta. It's garlic, shallot, cascatelli pasta, a little bit of lacinato kale. So we're just gonna go ahead and top it off with these super garlicky panko breadcrumbs, as much as you desire. Bon appetit. That is good. So the breadcrumbs really bring this like crunchy, zesty, garlicky texture contrast to this. Check out the description. I'll leave you some links for some similar recipes that you can make at home. Can I get the magic hands? You're the real star of this show. So we're ready to move on to our second topping. We're gonna make a brown butter, fried rosemary, walnut topping. This is a really versatile topping. You can put this on protein, you can put this on salads. It's gonna be really delicious. Rule of thumb, handful of nuts for 2 people. You can make more, you can make less. And about 2 sprigs of any herb that you're using. You don't want it to be too overwhelming. I'm gonna start by stripping my herbs. This is really easy. I'm just gonna peel opposite of the way the leaves are growing, making sure to avoid any of the woody bits. This is a really good job for kids. There's no knives. You can't cut yourself with this. Next, we're gonna chop our walnuts. If you don't wanna chop with a knife, you can just sort of bang these with anything hard, like the bottom of a pot. Just want them in small, bite-sized pieces. Are we ready to brown our butter? This is where the magic happens. So brown butter is just butter that's been cooked in a pan. The milk fats are gonna start to toast and caramelize and turn a little brown. You're gonna get this really intense nutty flavor that's gonna really elevate any weeknight dish. All right, so I have 2 tablespoons of butter here. My pan is on medium-high, lower side of medium-high. And I'm just gonna go ahead and put this in. And I'm just gonna keep this moving so it's not gonna burn. As you can see, the foam is subsiding a little bit, the fat's clarifying. I'm just gonna wait for this foam to sort of chill out a little bit, and then I'm gonna add my nuts and my herbs. All right, so I can smell that it's starting to get a little bit nutty and fragrant. I'm gonna go ahead and add the nuts and the herbs. This is exactly what I'm looking for. I'm looking for the fat to start frying off the herbs. And I'm just gonna keep this swirling and swirling and swirling for about a minute, maybe 2 minutes. I'm gonna hit this with a little bit of salt and a little bit of pepper. And I'm just gonna keep it moving, moving, moving. It's very nutty, fragrant. We're pretty much there. So I'm gonna go ahead and turn off the heat, and I'm gonna transfer this to a bowl. Look at this beautiful color. This is nice. We're ready to top our pasta. So this is our same basic pantry pasta. We're just gonna transform it into a totally different flavor profile by using herby brown butter nuts instead of garlic breadcrumbs. So with this, because the butter settled a little bit at the bottom, I'm just gonna give it a little bit of a toss before I go ahead and top. Make sure everything's fully coated. I'm gonna make sure I'm getting some butter from the bottom, as well as a little bit of herb and nut. You can never have enough of this. Put as much as feels good for you. All right, let's eat it. So I'm just gonna kind of move it around to make sure every bite gets a little bit of brown butter. Oh, it's so good. It's herby, it's crunchy, it's rosemary-y. This one's really giving me fall flavors, but I'd eat it year-round, honestly. Last thing we're doing today, we're gonna make a compound butter. We have lemon for lemon zest and lemon juice, some capers, we're gonna make some garlic paste, and we have some of our Weeknight Hero spice blend. To start, I'm gonna get my butter to room temperature. It's gonna be so much easier to incorporate everything that way. This is 2 tablespoons of butter. This is a good portion for finishing a 2-person portion of pasta. I personally like to make a couple of sticks, roll them in parchment, throw them in the freezer, and finish a variety of foods with them. I'm just gonna throw my garlic. This is gonna be different than our breadcrumbs, which are gonna add texture, and our herby nuts, which add a really sort of floral note. This is gonna add this richness, this creaminess, and it's gonna have more applications than both of those 2 things combined. So I'm gonna go ahead and zest my lemon. I'm just gonna go straight into the bowl for this. And I'm gonna sort of eyeball it. Like most things that we're cooking today, this is really based on personal preference. Put as much or as little as you'd like of any of these things. I like really bright flavors, so I'm gonna put in most of the zest of this lemon. Waste not, want not. I'm gonna use a little bit of the juice too, just to sort of loosen it up. This is what we call the Blue Apron quarter and D seed. So we're gonna take out the ends. We're gonna also take out the pith, just the white middle, punch out the seeds, and you have a perfect quartered lemon. Now we're gonna chop our capers. Just a rough chop on these is gonna be fine. Just so the flavor gets spread around, just a rough chop. I'm also going to use just a pinch of our Weeknight Hero spice blend. This has a little bit of garlic powder, onion powder. It just gives you this like extra punch. Just a pinch. And we're ready to mash. So we're just gonna go through and combine everything. For this dish, we have some pasta water, which is just the reserved starchy water that our pasta was cooked in. I'm gonna add about a tablespoon or 2 of pasta water and stir that all together. You're gonna want your pasta to be just al dente, which means it still has a little bit of a bite and it's gonna finish in the pan. And I'm gonna add our butter. As you can see, this is getting really creamy. The butter and the starch from the pasta water are really getting all glossy. I'm gonna go on this about 1 to 2 minutes, just until everything's fully coated. If the pasta seems a little dry, just add a little bit more pasta water, a little bit less than a tablespoon at a time, just a splash, until everything's really glossy and coated. And we're ready to serve. This would be great with any of the other toppings we made as well. Some Parmesan, some red pepper flakes. I have these leftover lemon wedges. I like lemon, so I'm gonna go ahead and put one on the side. I think it makes it look nice, have a little pop of color. All right, let's dig in. This is so good. It's so creamy, it's so luxurious, it's tart, it's briny, it's in every nook and cranny of these noodles. I wanna show you a couple other ways we can use compound butter. I have a steak coming to visit me. So like I said earlier, we can go ahead and make the compound butter, wrap it up, put it in the fridge or freezer, and take it out whenever the time is right. Just gonna go ahead and take a little slice off. I'm gonna go for about 2 tablespoons. And I'm just gonna let that melt on. It's gonna get all over this steak. It's gonna create its own sauce. It's gonna give us an extra boost of flavor. You can do this with any protein. It's really good. If you're curious about other compound butters, I left you some links in the description for some of my favorite compound butters. Thanks so much for hanging out with me today. I hope that you run wild with these 3 toppings we made and use them to really level up a weeknight meal. I hope to see you soon. If you like pasta, hit the like button. Cheers.